Black history isn't old, it's happening now, the North Edition. When we think about Black history, we picture black and white photos, grainy footage, long ago. We're taught to believe Black history is something that ended, something our grandparents lived through, not something shaping our lives right now. But here's the truth. Some of the most important Black history in the North happened within the last 50 years, not centuries ago, not way back when, in our lifetime. Fact 1. Northern cities enforced segregation well into the 1970s. People love to say that was the South. But in Boston, Massachusetts, court-ordered school desegregation began in 1974 after the Morgan versus Hennigan decision. What followed were years of violent protests. White mobs attacked buses carrying black children in neighborhoods like South Boston and Charlestown. Students were pelted with rocks. The National Guard was deployed. This wasn't Jim Crow, Alabama. This was Massachusetts, less than 50 years ago. That's not ancient history. That's recent memory. Fact 2. Redlining shaped where black families could live, and its effects are still visible today. In 1933, the federal government created the Homeowners Loan Corporation, HOLC, which produced redlining maps throughout the 1930s and 1940s. In northern cities like Chicago, Detroit, Newark, Cleveland, Philadelphia, and New York City, black neighborhoods were outlined in red and labeled hazardous. Banks refused mortgages, insurance companies denied coverage, investment disappeared. In Chicago, redlining confined black residents to the Black Belt on the South Side. In Newark, New Jersey, entire neighborhoods were locked out of wealth-building opportunities. Those maps didn't disappear until the Fair Housing Act of 1968, and even then, enforcement was weak. The neighborhoods harmed then are still underfunded today. Fact 3. Police violence in the North didn't start with smartphones. When people see videos today, they ask, why is this happening now? But black communities in northern cities have been documenting police violence for decades, just without cameras. On May 13, 1985, the Philadelphia Police Department dropped a military-grade bomb on the home of the black liberation group MOVE, located on Osage Avenue in West Philadelphia. The bombing killed 11 people, including 5 children, and burned down 61 homes. This happened in Pennsylvania, in a northern city, on live television. That's not ancient history. That's modern America. Fact 4. The war on drugs devastated northern black communities in the 1980s and 1990s. Mass incarceration isn't an abstract statistic. In New York City, stop-and-frisk policies expanded dramatically, under Mayor Michael Bloomberg, peaking in 2011 with over 685,000 stops in 1 year. More than 85% of those stopped were black or Latino. Nearly 90% were never arrested or charged. In Chicago, aggressive drug policing flooded black neighborhoods on the south and west sides. In Detroit, incarceration skyrocketed as manufacturing jobs disappeared. That's not history class. That's policy memory. Fact 5. Black neighborhoods were deliberately destroyed through urban renewal. Urban renewal was sold as progress. But between the 1950s and 1970s, it often meant highways cutting straight through black neighborhoods. In Detroit, the construction of I-375 destroyed the historic black business district of Black Bottom and Paradise Valley. In Newark, the construction of I-280 displaced thousands of black residents. In Syracuse, New York, I-81 cut directly through the 15th Ward, a thriving black community. Homes were seized, businesses were erased, community wealth vanished. Many residents displaced by these projects are still alive today. Fact 6. Northern schools remained unequal long after segregation was over. Even after legal segregation ended, northern school systems used zoning and district lines to maintain separation. In New York City, a 2014 report found that the public school system was more segregated than it was in the 1960s. Black and Latino students were disproportionately placed in underfunded schools with fewer advanced courses, fewer counselors, and fewer resources. The laws changed, the systems didn't. Fact 7. The crack epidemic was not accidental, and northern cities paid the price. In the 1980s, crack cocaine flooded black neighborhoods across northern cities. In 1986, Congress passed the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, creating a 100.1 sentencing disparity between crack and powder cocaine. In New York, Chicago, Detroit, and Philadelphia, black residents received drastically longer sentences for crack offenses, while powder cocaine, more common in white communities, was punished far less severely. That disparity wasn't reduced until 2010. The damage didn't disappear. It shows up today in family separation and economic instability. Fact 8. Black political power in the North has often been met with resistance. When Harold Washington became Chicago's first black mayor in 1983, the city council launched what became known as council wars, blocking legislation and budgets. In Newark, Kenneth Gibson, elected in 1970, inherited a city already devastated by white flight and disinvestment, and was blamed for conditions he didn't create. Black leadership was framed as failure, even when the same systems remained intact. That's not coincidence. That's backlash. Fact 9. Modern uprisings didn't come out of nowhere. When people saw protests after Rodney King, 1991, Eric Garner, Staten Island, 2014, Breonna Taylor, 2020, and George Floyd, Minneapolis, 2020, they asked, why now? But black communities have been protesting police violence in northern cities for generations. What changed wasn't the violence. What changed was the visibility. Cell phones didn't create the problem. They exposed it. Fact 10. Black history is happening in real time, and we're living it. The biggest lie we're told is that black history is over, that it belongs to February, that it lives in textbooks. But black history in the North is unfolding right now, in housing policy, education, policing, health outcomes, and economic access. The reason it feels old is because we're taught to look for it in black and white photos. But most of these stories happened in color, on television, on our streets, in our lifetime. So the next time someone says, that was so long ago, or why can't we just move on? Ask them this. Which part of this history do you remember living through? And which one surprised you the most? Because black history isn't ancient, it's current.